This is the story of Princess Inikpi, the beloved daughter of a great king. A girl who had everything, beauty, wisdom, privilege, but understood that true royalty means sacrifice. One day, war came to her kingdom, and an impossible choice was demanded. What followed would break her father's heart but save an entire nation. Stay with me because this powerful African legend will remind you that sometimes the greatest love is found not in what we keep, but in what we're willing to give away. In the ancient kingdom of Igala, where the mighty River Niger flows like the lifeblood of the land, there ruled a great king named Ayegba Oma Idoko, the Atta of all Igala. He was a wise and powerful ruler, beloved by his people, feared by his enemies. He had many sons, strong warriors who would defend the kingdom with their lives. But his heart belonged most deeply to his only daughter, Princess Inikpi. Inikpi was not just beautiful, she was luminous. Her skin glowed like polished bronze, her eyes held the wisdom of the ancestors, and her voice could calm the fiercest storm. She moved through the palace with grace that made even the elders pause and marvel. But what made Inikpi truly special was not her beauty or her royal bearing, it was her heart. She loved her people with a fierce devotion, and she understood that with great privilege came even greater responsibility. The princess would often leave the palace to walk among the villagers, listening to their troubles, playing with their children, helping women at the market. A ruler who does not know her people's pain, she would say, cannot truly serve them. Her father would watch her with pride mixed with fear, for he knew that a heart as large as hers could one day be called upon to make an impossible choice. And that day came. The kingdom of Benin, powerful and hungry for expansion, set its eyes on Igala land. Their warriors were many, their weapons sharp, their king ambitious. The Atta Ayegba refused to surrender his people to slavery and domination, so war became inevitable. The Benin army advanced like a plague of locusts, destroying everything in their path. They burned farmlands until nothing but ash remained. They poisoned the streams and rivers where the people drew water. Children cried from hunger, women wept over their dying crops, and men prepared to fight a battle they knew they might not win. The Atta called his war council together. His generals spoke of strategies and fortifications, but even as they planned, messengers brought worse news each day. The Benin army was too strong, too vast. The Igala warriors were brave, but they were outnumbered. Desperation hung over the kingdom like a dark cloud that would not lift. In his desperation, the Atta did what his ancestors had done before him in times of impossible crisis. He consulted the oracle. The high priest prepared the sacred rituals, and the Atta entered the shrine with his heart heavy as stone. He offered sacrifices, he spoke the ancient prayers, and he asked the question that weighed on every soul in the kingdom: how can we save Igala from destruction? The oracle's response came through the priest, and the words fell like thunderbolts. The kingdom can only be saved through the ultimate sacrifice. The Atta must bury alive his most beloved child at the bank of River Niger. Only then will the ancestors rise to protect the land. Only then will Igala be saved. The Atta Ayegba heard these words and felt his world shatter. His most beloved child. There was no question who that was. His sons were dear to him, yes, but Inikpi was the light of his life, the joy of his old age, the daughter who made him laugh when the weight of the crown grew too heavy. To bury her alive. To seal her in the earth while she still breathed, still lived, still had so much life before her. It was unthinkable. It was impossible. He returned to the palace broken, unable to speak, unable to eat. He shut himself in his chambers and wept like he had never wept before. For 3 days, he did not emerge. His counselors whispered outside his door, worried. His wife sent food he did not touch. His sons demanded to know what the oracle had said, but he could not bring himself to speak the words aloud. But Inikpi knew. The way she had always known things. She had inherited her father's wisdom and something more, a connection to the spiritual realm that made her sensitive to the unseen. She felt the weight of destiny settling on her shoulders like a mantle she had always been meant to wear. She went to the high priest privately and asked him directly, what did the oracle say? And when he told her, she did not weep. She did not rage. She simply nodded, as if confirming something she had always suspected. Princess Inikpi went to her father's chamber. She found him aged overnight, his face lined with grief, his eyes red from crying. "Baba," she said softly, kneeling before him. "I know what the oracle said." The Atta looked at his daughter and shook his head violently. "No. Never. I will not do it. I will find another way. I will offer myself instead. I will," but Inikpi placed her hand over his. "Baba, if you could take my place, the oracle would have said so. The ancestors are specific in their demands. And who am I to refuse when my people need me? You are my daughter," the Atta roared through his tears. "You are my heart. How can they ask this of me? How can the ancestors be so cruel?" Inikpi smiled gently, though tears now ran down her own cheeks. "They are not cruel, Baba. They are showing us what true leadership means. I am one life. Out there are thousands, children who deserve to grow up, mothers who deserve to see their babies thrive, fathers who deserve to live without war. If my life can purchase their freedom, their safety, their future, how can I say no?" The Atta held his daughter and wept. He begged her to reconsider. He offered to flee with her to another kingdom, to abandon the throne, to live as a common man if it meant she could live. But Inikpi was resolute. She had made her choice, and nothing would change her mind. "I was born a princess," she said. "Let me die as one should, serving her people with everything she has, even her last breath." The news spread through the kingdom like wildfire. When the people heard that their beloved princess had volunteered to be the sacrifice, grief swept through every home. Women wailed in the streets. Men stood silent with tears streaming down their faces. Children who had played with the princess cried for her. The entire kingdom went into mourning before the sacrifice had even taken place. The day came, as all dreaded days must. Princess Inikpi, dressed in her finest royal robes, adorned herself with all her coral beads and royal jewelry. She wanted to meet the ancestors looking like the princess she was. She walked through the palace one last time, saying goodbye to every servant, every guard, every person she had known and loved. She embraced her brothers, who wept openly despite being warriors. She kissed her father's weathered face and whispered, "Do not let my sacrifice be in vain. Live, Baba. Rule well. And remember me not with grief but with pride." The procession to the River Niger was silent except for the sound of weeping. 9 slaves, chosen to accompany the princess to the spirit world and serve her there, walked beside her. They too had accepted their fate with dignity, honored to serve the princess even in death. When they reached the designated spot at the bank of the great river, a deep pit had been prepared. Princess Inikpi stood at the edge and looked out over the land she loved, the rolling hills, the flowing river, the distant villages with their smoking cooking fires. She raised her voice and spoke to her people one last time, "Do not mourn for me. I go to join the ancestors, to plead your case before them, to become your eternal guardian. Every time you draw water from this river, remember me. Every time you plant your crops, know that I am with you. I am not dying, I am transforming. I will always watch over Igala." And with those words, Princess Inikpi stepped into the pit. The 9 slaves followed her. The high priest performed the final rituals, speaking the words that would seal the sacrifice. The Atta watched, his face a mask of anguish, as earth was poured over his beloved daughter. They buried her alive, standing upright, as the ritual demanded, still regal, still proud, still a princess even as the earth covered her. The moment the sacrifice was complete, something miraculous happened. The sky darkened though it was midday. Thunder rumbled though there were no clouds. The river Niger began to churn and foam as if boiling from within. And from the direction of the kingdom, smoke began to rise, but it was not the smoke of destruction. It was sacred smoke, the smoke of spiritual protection, the smoke of ancestral power awakened. The Benin warriors, who had been advancing toward the kingdom's heart, saw the smoke and felt something they had never felt before, pure, primal fear. It was as if the very land had become alive, hostile, defended by forces beyond human understanding. Their warriors began to fall ill with mysterious sicknesses. Their weapons began to break for no reason. Their supplies spoiled overnight. And in their dreams, they saw her, a beautiful princess with eyes of fire, commanding them to leave. The Benin king, despite his pride and ambition, recognized a spiritual battle he could not win. He ordered his army to retreat. The war ended not with a clash of swords but with a supernatural victory. Igala was saved. The people were saved. And all because one young woman loved her people more than she loved her own life. The Atta Ayegba ruled for many more years, but he was never the same. He built a great shrine at the spot where Inikpi was buried, and it became a place of pilgrimage for all of Igala. People came to honor the princess who became their savior. They sang songs about her courage. They told their children her story. And they never forgot that the price of their freedom was one brave girl's life. Even today, centuries later, the legend of Princess Inikpi lives on. Her shrine still stands in Idah. The river Niger still flows where she was buried. And the people of Igala still remember their princess, not with grief, but with pride. She proved that true royalty is not about crowns and palaces. True royalty is about sacrifice, duty, and love so deep that death itself cannot diminish it. Princess Inikpi did not just save a kingdom. She showed the world what it means to be truly noble, truly brave, truly selfless. She was a daughter who broke her father's heart to save her father's kingdom. She was a princess who chose duty over life itself. And she became immortal, not because she lived forever, but because her story will never die. Tell me where you're watching from in the comments so I can give you a special hug in my next story. And if you subscribe, like, and drop a comment on this story, your week will be as fruitful as a blessed harvest. Don't forget to share this powerful legend with someone who needs to remember that true greatness comes from serving others. Until next time, keep your heart kind and your spirit strong.